This is Peter from This Retired Life. I'm sitting up in the Victorian High Country and it's pretty cold. This video is going to be about the 6 hottest ideas to make your winter camping trip warm as toast. It seems obvious, but you've really got to have the right clothes when you get out and about in the middle of the winter. Obviously, you need a good coat. This one's a ripper, full of Primaloft, which keeps you nice and warm, and it's got a water repellent coating on the top of it as well. It's fantastic, and it has certainly kept me warm in many a trout stream and a few salmon streams. But the key to keeping warm when you're getting dressed for the Victorian High Country or anywhere else that's cold in the world, 4 words: Merino, Merino, possum fur merino. They are the best fibres for keeping warm. 2 or 3 merino layers and you will be warm as toast, and you won't feel like the Michelin man, all bulky. You don't have to spend a huge amount of money on merino layers. Quite often, some of the cheaper stores have cheap $15 Australian merino light jumpers. They work just as well as a flash, trendy merino base layer that you buy at a high-end camping shop. So have a good look around. Make sure you get the leggings as well, because they make a huge difference under your pants. And the best thing is, you can wear it for 4 days in a row and you don't stink. I've worn merino layers in Finland in -16. I've worn merino layers Southland, New Zealand, in the snow, waist deep in a river in waders, didn't get cold. I've worn merino layers in Iceland, salmon fishing, warm as toast. Get out there, get your merino layers. The 5th hottest idea for staying warm in the Victorian High Country, or anywhere else for that matter, on a cold winter's camping trip, is a decent fire. Yes, I know it sounds obvious. Of course you're going to have a fire. How else are you going to keep warm? But in the middle of the winter, everything's wet. You've got to be a little bit more prepared. A tub of kindling, a few bits of dry wood, and that'll get you started. Once you've got a hot base, you'll be able to get any fire going. The 4th hottest idea for having a hot camping trip in the middle of winter is back to that fire. Bring a leaf blower. You can find them at any Bunnings store, online. Amazon will probably have them. And then you don't have to be that guy who spends all of his time waving a tub lid at a fire. At least after waving a tub lid for an hour and your fire doesn't start, you're nice and warm. Spark up the leaf blower, point it in the right direction. Bob's your uncle, the fire's up and going. It is a winner. Make sure you add one to your winter camping kit. The number 3 hottest thing to keep yourself warm on a midwinter's camping trip is the good old 12-volt heated blanket. It is an absolute winner. I've got to admit, I was skeptical at first. I thought, for 20 bucks, this thing's not going to work. I turned it on, left it on the bench, put my hand in between it. It was barely warm. Anyway, we put it in the camper, didn't think much of it, until one night, we're out in the desert, middle of Australia, freezing cold night, -6, and I was just aware that things were a little bit warmer than they probably should be. All of a sudden, I was aware that there was a bit of heat coming from the other side of the bed. And yes, Susan had arced up 12-volt electric blanket, and it was a lifesaver. It was absolutely fantastic. This morning, up here, when I woke up, it was -5. Before I got out of bed, I turned on that heated blanket, got myself nice and warm, got up, made a coffee, and it was all fantastic. Number 2 hottest tip for a successful cold winter's camping trip is good coffee. Yes, I know these days people can put pod machines in their campers and their caravans, but I hate pod coffee, and I really want to pull a good espresso and froth a little bit of milk for my latte or my cappuccino. Yes, I know we get soft as we get older. That's fairly obvious. I found the solution, and it is the Bellman Cappuccino Maker. It is sensational. Pulls about 4 or 5 great shots of espresso, and doubles as a milk frother. Couple it with your Yeti mug and you've got a hot coffee that'll last you through the morning while you're preparing for your day's activities. Just remember, whatever you do, grind your own beans. You're on holidays, you're retired, you got time. Fresh beans, grind them up, enjoy that coffee in the high country. The #1 hottest idea for keeping warm on a very, very cold camping trip. And that is whiskey. Yes, I don't know what it does to warm you up, but I can tell you one thing. 1 or 2 whiskies, you don't even think about being cold anymore. You forget about it, you get closer to the fire, and who cares how cold it is around you. Obviously, you've got to think carefully about this too. Make sure it's from the Isle of Islay, make sure it's a single malt, and make sure you got a good mate to share it with around the campfire. Alrighty, I have one final bonus tip. And not because of typical YouTube fashion, you always leave the best to last, but because I forgot all about it. I've woken up this morning. It is freezing cold. The doors on the car were frozen shut. Absolutely freezing. And then I remembered this. Yes, the plug-in battery vest. It is an absolute winner. Cheap as chips. You can get them on eBay. You can get them on Amazon. See the links below and help make me filthy rich. It's a beauty. Simply press the button and there it is. Press it again, we have white power. Press it again, we have blue power. Press it again, we have red power. Who knows what each of those mean? All I know is it's -3 and I'm standing in here with 2 layers of Merino and my plug-in vest and I'm warm as toast. Hopefully these ideas have set you in good stead to get out and about on your retired life and make it better than a vacation. And preferably make it warmer than a midwinter vacation in the Victorian High Country. Thanks for joining us.